Assalamu alaikum, students. I hope everybody is very good. And Mr. Kashif Amin Siddiqui has also joined us. Let me tell you about Mr. Kashif Siddiqui. He is a data architect in UBL, and he was working. He's data architect in HBL, right? And he was also working. He has been working in UBL since long, and overall his experience is 20 plus years. तो मैंने इनके साथ एज ए कलीग भी काम किया है, तो और ये काफ़ी अरसे से मैं इनको इंडस्ट्री में जानता हूँ, बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री में इनका अच्छा खासा नाम है. सो आई होपफुली कि आज के सेशन के अंदर आप इनसे बहुत अच्छी इंफॉर्मेशन हासिल करेंगे, और इट विल बी वेरी बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू, स्पेशली फॉर फाइनल ईयर स्टूडेंट्स एंड ओवरऑल ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स के डेटा मैनेजमेंट होती क्या है इसके सिलसिले में. तो काशिफ साहब, आप काइंडली स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. अभी हमारे पास 17 के करीब पार्टिसिपेंट्स मौजूद हैं, तो ये इंशाल्लाह और ज्वाइन कर लेंगे अभी.
I hope you all are able to hear me clearly. If not, please let me know. Abdul Rahman साहब ने मेरा जो introduction कराया है, that he is very a fine guy, or I'm very humble. My complete name is Kashif Amin Siddiqui. I work at HBL as head of data architecture. I am doing this job for last 4 years, for last 3 years. Let me start my presentation. And okay, so I've been in the field since 1999. So it's been about 21 years. I'm doing my I started as a software engineer, and then gradually moved towards the data management and database development and things like that. So it's been 21 years now that I'm working in the field. We started as from software engineer in a software house, and then moved to UBL, then moved to another software house, then again moved to HBL. This is my whole experience, and mostly I am working with data, databases, data management, and things like that. So currently I have more than one teams which I manage, and all of them are technical teams. One is data architecture team, and the another one is infrastructure team. So basically my job entails everything from communication to technical implementation to everything that is related to the technical aspect of my project that comes towards my team. Okay, my choice was to be in this field, so I'm in the field by choice, generally in computing field and especially in data field. I was given a choice to become a project manager and to become chartered accountant and things like that, but I choose to be this. So I'm very excited to share my experience with all of you. I'll try my best to present understanding around this data management thing that I'm going to present. This isn't going to be a very detailed discussion because it's a very large subject. There is a whole lot of body of knowledge around it. So I'll be talking about some general overview around that, what it means, how it is done, how it impacts things. So I'll be just presenting some basic ideas about that. And then if you have any question, then you can raise that in the chat window during the presentation. I'll try my best to answer. and then there will also be a QA at the end of the presentation, so you can ask a question at the end of the presentation. Okay, so let's start. Now, the agenda of the meeting, the webinar is, I'll be talking about these four things. What is data? How it became so important in our life, what its life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. The data should start somewhere and it should end somewhere. So it has a very defined life cycle in a system. Then how do we manage that life cycle? That's the data management thing. We define the life cycle, what is the data life cycle in our system, and then we define the processes, the practices, the guidelines, the strategy, how to best manage these aspects of life cycle. And then there will be some discussion about the current hype and current mostly things that are going on in the data management field, that is big data management. And related to this is machine learning and AI and things like that. So let's start. Technically, data is everywhere, either in life, in it's data is not like it's something related to our applications and whatever we generate. It is everywhere. What we are facing now is we are actually started collecting this data and started using it to our advantage. We are doing it for the last around 80 years, 70, 80 years, but now this is now becoming the core center of our focus. So it is everywhere, it is being used everywhere, and it is giving us some edges, most of edges in every aspect of life. But data itself, the definition of data is that it's a set of quantitative or qualitative value about a person or object or a thing. It itself, it doesn't make any value to a subject, to anything. Whenever there is a data, it needs a context. For example, if I say a tall guy, it just gives you an adjective about a person. But if I give it a context that at that time it makes the tall guy noun and the adjective makes some sense and some value around it. That's what data, that's why the data is important. It is so important that these days it is the most important asset available to an organization. For example, it helps us to manage the current aspect of our business and predict the future and work on that prediction to make more effective uses of our business. And it's not about business, it's the life and it's everything. It is everything that surrounds the data. It almost always the data it generated will outlive that application. It happens all the time. The banks generated all the data in some obscure application that was created in 1990 because that data is very useful unless the organization stops working or stop using that kind of data. Now, this is how the data lifecycle works. It always starts from planning. Business starts planning to what is required for making some business decisions, for making some business implementation, for modules to implement business. For example, if I'm going to implement a mobile app, what kind of functionality I want to give, what will the data in those modules, and how the data will be used by the business users and the end users and the management. So it is the start of the data lifecycle. Then we start collecting. Here, this is the point where the application developers, for example, the web developers and the app developers and all kinds of developers and database developers and backend developers comes into focus, that according to the business plan and the requirements, they will design some application, some system, something that will collect the required data. They may add some more data. For example, they can collect data for logging, for future debugging, anything. But they will be collecting all the data that the business required. Okay. Here, there are many different type of application. Currently, the most used type of applications are, for example, okay. There are most type of applications are, for example, app or web applications. Just give me a minute. There is a problem. Okay, now, sorry. So there are types of applications, that, for example, desktop applications, web applications, and mobile apps. But the most widely used applications are these days are the web apps and the mobile apps. And these apps used to collect data for their use, for the logging purposes, for debugging purposes. So they are using it to better the end user, to better present the customer value, whatever they are actually proposing in the application. They are they are using the data to do it better. Then comes the maintenance part. Once you collect the data, it becomes the responsibility of the data management team who will need to manage, secure, and present the data whenever it is required. So it entails the database management systems and the security on the database management system, the DBAs, the database developers, and these people will be responsible for maintaining the data as long as it is required and as efficiently it is required. So operational reports at this point, when the data is collected and it is in the hands of the database developers and the MIS developers and the database developers, the operational data and operational reporting is started. This is where the data starts making some useful information. for operations. For example, how many customers are coming per day, how many transactions are going on. It's just the operational day by day routine information, but start making some decision on these reports. Once data collection is done, the maintenance is there, and we start using the daily reports for it, then comes the requirement that if we have this much data and these are the data we are going to manage it and process it, what if we want to see what is the pattern, what are the patterns in our data, how it is showing some details about the customers we are having, the people who are using the application. Then become this at this point, the BI and the data warehousing gets involved. The whole data is collected, the context is created. For example, what are the customers, what are the demographics of the customers, what are the people who are behind it. So everything is just connected to each other, and the BI team and the MIS team starts working on it to make some dashboards and reports to show what is actually what are the patterns in the data. So these patterns will help in the middle management or the upper management to make some decision about how to move the businesses or anything around in the future. For example, if they are showing that this kind of customers are actually leaving very fast, then they can gather the data, what are the demographics, why they are leaving, if there's an application problem, if the customer doesn't like the UI of the application. So this is where your BI and data warehouse comes in, and it will help you to identify the solutions to the shortcomings in your business. Once it is developed, these reports, these dashboards, these BI reports are shared with the users. They use it to make decision, and once they make decision, they share it with the higher management. They make it a part of their daily decision making system. Once the data has gone through all these things, and its usability has completed, the data that was being used to make decisions will be archived. It's not dead, it's not removed, it's not deleted, it's archived, because there is a limit, always a limit in a system to how much data it can produce, how much data it can process, and what it can generate. So maybe the systems in an organization can only manage 2 years data, 3 years data, 4 years data. So after that time, they have the data, they have the BI solutions and everything, but because the systems are unable to generate decision on this large amount of data, they need to archive the data. For example, I am working in a bank. The bank generates a lot of data. For example, just to give you an example, we have around 10 million plus customers in our system, and daily there are, for example, 4 million, 5 million transactions happening. So it's a very difficult task to manage this kind of history for a very long time. I am working in a big data management application. Making it making 2 years data available is a tedious job, is an extremely tiring job, because there are a lot of systems there which. That's why the archive process is a part of data lifecycle. We have to decide how how long we are going to use it, and after that period we will archive it. It will remain available, but it will not be readily available to end users. Whenever they want it, the data management team can make it available for them, but for a very short term time. Okay. Then there is, because I'm presenting from home, so looks some bit difficult here. Okay. Then there is a time when the data needs to be purged. This instance comes when the company is going out of scope, the company is getting merged, the organization is shifting the focus from this kind of business to another kind of business. It can be anything, but because it's a valuable asset, the purging needs to be very, very careful. Also, because it may contain very sensitive and personal information, the purging process should be very, very difficult to do and very expensive to do, because we do not want to share our data, the personal data or the sensitive data, to anyone who is not eligible for it. That's the life cycle of data. This is how the data moves around in any system. Now, because there are these steps in the data life cycle, there should be some processes, some people, some guidelines, some standards to manage this whole life cycle, so it may not get messy or uncontrollable or meaningless or things like that. So that's where the whole data management practice comes in. Okay. If any one of you has any question, just please raise it. So
जी स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप में से किसी को कोई सवाल पूछना है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं, और फिर उसके बाद चैट पे लिख के पूछ लीजिए, और उसके बाद फिर ये कंटिन्यू करेंगे.
ओके. मैं कोशिश ये कर रहा था कि इसको एज सिंपल एज पॉसिबल करने की कोशिश इसलिए कर रहा हूँ कि बिकॉज ये सब्जेक्ट चूँकि बहुत बड़ा है और उसमें कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज बहुत इन्वॉल्व होती है, तो आई एम ट्राइंग माई बेस्ट कि इसको बहुत सिंप्लीफाई करके प्रेजेंट किया जा सके. If any one of you or have already learned something about it, and if they want to ask some question, just go ahead and write in the chat. I will do it. I'll try to answer that question. अच्छा. Now, data management जो है उसमें हम करते ये हैं कि जो लाइफ साइकिल हमने डिफाइन की अभी जैसे प्रीवियस स्टेप में, हम उसको मैनेज, उसके हर स्टेप को फॉर्मलाइज करते हैं, उसको डॉक्यूमेंट करते हैं, उसको फॉर्मलाइज करते हैं और उनके ऊपर प्रोसीजर सेट कर देते हैं, ताकि जो उसका पर्पस है वो उससे आगे ना जाए. सॉरी. और उसमें जो कंट्रोल्स हैं वो अपनी जगह मौजूद रहें. जो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ ये है कि जो उससे आप फ़ायदा लेना चाहते हैं, जो बेनिफिट आप उससे अचीव करना चाहते हैं, वो अचीव हो जाए. ये बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ है हिस्ट्री में भी और अभी भी हो रहा है. डाटा मैनेजमेंट के प्रोजेक्ट्स का फेलियर रेट सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट की फेलियर रेट से कहीं ज़्यादा होता है, बिकॉज इट्स अ कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसीजर एंड इट इन्वॉल्व्स अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल एंड लॉट ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. इसकी वजह से एक पूरी एक फील्ड है डाटा मैनेजमेंट की जो वजूद में आ गई है कि हाउ effectively you can manage the data so it becomes useful to you and not a pain point for an organization. ठीक है. अच्छा. It actually governs every aspect of life. Once आप इसको सही करते हैं तो it will help you in your business growth, in your project growth, in your app growth, anything. It will help you. But if you mess it, it will destroy the organization, destroy the reputation of an organization. It's a very destructive force if not used correctly. अच्छा, डाटा मैनेजमेंट की एक हिस्ट्री है, क्योंकि बिकॉज इट्स एन एसेट, it has a very long history of evolution. For example, from the starting point, it was cards, the punch cards, where the data was stored and used by different end users. It was very tedious, it was very difficult, but still they were doing some management that cards should be like that, the punch cards would be like that, and the punching should be like that. Then it becomes some easier. Then the magnetic tapes came, उसके ऊपर स्टोरेज शुरू की गई. लेकिन चूंकि उसमें जो हार्डवेयर था वो एक्सपेंसिव बहुत ज़्यादा था, उसकी वजह से उसको बहुत ही स्कार्सली यूज़ किया जाता था. Only the important information that is very much required by the business to run the data, the business will be saved into the hardware, and others will be on the files and some other things which will not help you, because it will be sitting some warehouse in some place and you won't be able to retrieve it correctly and use it. Then came the SQL revolution, which I call the SQL revolution, because it is still the most used data management platform in the world. Every application created by any developer, any serious data management capability any application has, will use a database. Either it's MySQL, even it's SQLite, it's Oracle, SQL Server, anything, but application will almost always use a database. So there is always a data management aspect going on in any application. Then came the new revolution that is called the big data revolution, because the hardware is getting very cheaper, and there is a cloud environment, more than one cloud environments available. The provisioning of the hardware resources, the infrastructure, the network is very easy. You just go to their site, put some amount in their hands, and there's a machine you are working, and they take the responsibility for managing it and give you the SLA for example 99.999 availability. That's why people are just capturing all the data around it and trying to use it to make some better decisions, and it is helping them to make better decisions. Okay. Now back to the data management. That it is not the completely. This is how the data management thing is done. It is not the every organization does it. Something more and something less like that. But these are the big things that are being done in the data management. Whenever you go for an enterprise or an organization and you want to collect and use the data, first you have to identify how you are going to collect it, how you are going to store it, how you are going to manage it, how you going to secure it, how you going to use it, by combining all the information you are gathering from all the systems, and then how you are going to make it useful for you. है ये डाटा अपने सिस्टम में आ कहाँ से रहा है, किस तरह से प्रोसेस होगा, कैसे रखा जाएगा, और किस तरह से उसको प्रेजेंट किया जाएगा. अब डाटा आर्किटेक्चर जो है वो स्टोरेज को मतलब storage is the part of the data architecture, but this data storage एक itself एक पूरा एक सब्जेक्ट होता है डाटा मैनेजमेंट में, क्योंकि there are hard drives, there are SATA, there are SSDs, and there are guide what kind of data you have and how you are going to store it. For example, not every application requires an RDBMS. This is true now. 20 years ago, it was not true because everything was actually getting stored into the RDBMS. For example, if it's a chat application, it's not necessary you need to use a RDBMS application. You can use a key value store, you can use a document to store anything. ठीक अच्छा the security point of data management is the most important thing these days, because if you are watching stories about computer related computer security related information, then you will be seeing a lot of data breaches going on in recent years. Because we are collecting a lot of data, we are also collecting a lot of personal data. And once we are getting personal data, it becomes a very high responsibility कि हम उसको सिक्योर रखें और उसको किसी भी unintentional use में ना जाने दें. That's why security these days is the most important part of any system, क्योंकि इसकी नुकसान की वजह से, सिक्योरिटी के लैब्स की वजह से जो नोटेशन का अलग नुकसान होता है, लोगों की इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर हो जाने का अलग नुकसान होता है, बिजनेस की जो ग्रोथ का इम्पैक्ट है वो एक अलग फैक्टर बनता है. इसी वजह से सिक्योरिटी जो है एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फैसेट है आपकी इस पूरी डाटा मैनेजमेंट का. और दिस एक्चुअली स्टार्ट्स एट वेरी initial stages. Whenever you are collecting, whenever you are storing, it starts before that. So what will be the security protocols, how you are going to share it, how do you are going to manage it. So it is one of the most important aspect of your data management. Then comes the integration. No organization, even the smallest one, has a single application. Whenever there is an organization, there is a structure of people working together, there is always more than one system. When you want to get meaning from the system, आपस में जोड़ के एक सिंगल व्यू देखना होता है. इसकी एग्जांपल ऐसे देखें कि मैं मोस्टली बैंक की एग्जांपल आपको दे सकूंगा क्योंकि मैं बहुत अरसे से यहाँ काम कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे पास क्रेडिट कार्ड का डाटा भी आता है, डेबिट कार्ड का डाटा भी आता है, और मेरे पास जो है कोर बैंकिंग का जो ब्रांच बैंकिंग है उसका डाटा भी आता है. एवरीवन हैज इट्स ओन कस्टमर लिस्ट. तो उस कस्टमर की इंफॉर्मेशन भी होती है उनके पास. किसी के पास फ़ोन नंबर होता है, किसी के पास दूसरा फ़ोन नंबर होता है, ब्रांच बैंकिंग के पास एक तीसरा फ़ोन नंबर होता है. और this creates a lot of difficulties कि actually किसी कस्टमर का करंट जो उसका एड्रेस है, this becomes very difficult to identify. This is what integration does. It collects all the data from all the sources, combines it, and makes it available as a single source. So a better decision, a better business scenario can be generated from the integrated systems. Then comes the metadata. Okay, this is what I actually talked about in the start, that data doesn't make any sense until it has a context. The metadata means actually the data about data. For example, if there is a column with which is name for until unless you make a context around it. It's a customer name who is part of the branch which is located in that location. Then it becomes it becomes an information. So metadata actually defines the data in any context what this field, what this data means. Okay, then comes data quality. The data quality thing is applications do behave erratically. There's no perfect application. There's no perfect collection mechanism available in the world. So it will generate some garbage data. It will lose some data. It will generate some erratic data. Data quality part of management ensures that whatever has been collected is according to the respective business needs, and if there is an error or an invalid value, that needs to be corrected by the rules defined by business. For example, CNIC 13 कैरेक्टर का होता है, 99% जो है वो एप्लीकेशन 13 कैरेक्टर एक्सेप्ट करती है, समटाइम्स वो 10 कैरेक्टर भी एक्सेप्ट कर लेती है. हाउ वी गोना डू दैट? सो हम उसको एरर मार्क कर देंगे, या हम उसको किसी तरीके से रिजॉल्व करेंगे, या हम उसको कहीं अलग एक जगह रख के उसके ऊपर बिजनेस का बाय इन लेंगे कि ये हमें इसके साथ क्या करना है. That is what data quality is all about, to make data as clean as possible. When we have done all these things, then we can combine everything and generate a useful for our customers, for our management, for higher management, anyone who can see can rely on the data to make a better decision. Okay, whatever they want to achieve from the decision can make it with high confidence. Okay. Okay. Now, these days, this big data word is very, very hot, and everyone is trying to use this word to say something and do something. What it entails is कि चूंकि हमारे पास अब स्टोरेज की फैसिलिटी बहुत आसान है, क्योंकि कंप्यूटिंग मशीन्स बहुत रीडली अवेलेबल हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा कंप्यूटिंग पावर आसानी से अवेलेबल हो जाती है. सो पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड collecting every sort of data for making more precise decisions. Just give you an example. Mostly what organization does is just collect the data around its business. For example, they generate when the customer came, what they did, what transaction they did, how much an amount was involved, what was the time of the transaction. Now consider that if I can use the weather data with it and the traffic data with this information, I will be able to predict on the basis of current weather and the traffic situation how my business will work. This is what the big data is all about, collecting as much data as possible, combining it and make it more reliable for any situation that will come into the future. ठीक है. अब इसमें चूंकि आप डाटा ऐसा डाटा भी यूज कर रहे हैं जो स्ट्रक्चर्ड नहीं है या उसकी स्पीड बहुत ज़्यादा होती है. फॉर एग्जांपल आपके जो सेंसर्स हैं उनसे डाटा आ रहा होता है. इसकी अगर एग्जांपल मैं देना चाहूँ तो आई वाज वर्किंग विद एन एप्लीकेशन जहाँ पे जो आपका जीपीएस डिवाइस था वो every 15-second location send करता है, and there were about thousands of those 1,000 of those devices working around the city. So just simple math would be 1,000 multiplied by uh, every 15 seconds into 15 into the minutes and the hours. So very fast. It just generated about for us about 1 billion records with B, and we have to calculate some values around these large data sets. So this is what big data is doing with us. For example, you travel into Uber, travel into Kareem. So these companies use all the data around the system. For example, the day of the year, the for example, the event of which was happening at that time, the event that happened during these times, if there was a riot, if there was Eid, if there was something else. So they are collecting a lot of data around their business and using it to make a very precise decision. And then it goes to the machine learning and AI thing. Again, an example from my experience in working here. We have just created something that can predict 3 days, 4 days prior के ATM में कैश जो है वो खाली हो जाएगा 3 दिन बाद, मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली इतने बज के इतने मिनट से इतने बज के इतने मिनट के बीच में. Why is this possible? Because we have collected a lot of data around these things, which includes like that we combined it and then it's it is a very good prediction system because it goes beyond 80% to predict how fast the ATM is going to be out of cash. ठीक है. So this is अब चूंकि डाटा का साइज ज़्यादा है, उसकी टाइप्स ज़्यादा है, उसकी स्पीड बहुत ज़्यादा है, the same data management rules apply to it, but with a big data perspective. For example, there is no database in the world that can manage this kind of data efficiently. That's why they created Hadoop and they created other large systems that can secure data and save data and then present it efficiently. So then if the database storage is different, then the security artifacts will be different. The security tools will be different. The people around it will need to update themselves to go towards a big data thing and manage same principles, same logic, but with the big data in mind and with the tools that are specifically designed for big data. Okay. Now, if anyone has any question, just go ahead and ask. Acha. Okay, what is the difference between data scientist, data analyst, and data engineering role in the professional environment? Okay, good. The difference, okay. Data scientist is a very large term. For example, we mean some magician. Most of the people think it's a magician who just pulls his wand and do some magic and just flashy things comes out of the world. It's not like that. Data scientists are the people who actually uses the machine learning and the AI algorithms and apply it to the data the organization have collected and solve the problem the organization is having. Just like I have given you the example that we were facing the problem that we were not able to identify when the ATM is going out of cash, and sometimes or most of the times there were calls from customers that I am standing in front of your ATM and there is no cash in it and things like that. So that was the problem, and we tried to solve it through machine learning. And there is a data science team in our team. We actually went to them, we asked them what we can do about that, and they said, okay, look at that, we will look into this. And they came up with a solution with an algorithm. When you give the algorithm that the correct data, it will give you a very good result whenever the ATM is going to be out of cash. Then comes the data analyst. Data analyst is the one who actually analyzes the clean data. If you go into the presentation and the data lifecycle thing, that the process part is where the data analysis comes. When the data is being collected, maintained, secured, then it is presented to the analyst as a integrated source, and he will drive the dashboards according to the business requirement. Again, everything is try to understand that everything is run by business. It's the requirement, it's the problem they are having, it's the requirement they want to achieve. It will drive everything in the whole system. So the data analyst, who is the person who is actually designing the dashboards and the reports and analyzing the data and making some presentations, the data presentations for the management and the higher management. Now comes the data engineering field. That's what I came with. That's what I do. The data engineering is the team or the person who is sitting between the business and the end users. They are the ones who are responsible for managing, maintaining the data, and make it available so it can be retrieved, used, and make decision on that data efficiently. Meaning, data engineering team is the one who design कि आपके पास databases कौन से होने चाहिए, कौन सी मशीनें लगेंगी, उन पे डाटा आएगा कैसे, इंटीग्रेशन किस तरह से की जाएगी, और उसका पाथ क्या होगा कि वो सोर्स से कैसे आएगा, वो प्रोसेस कैसे होगा, उसमें टूल्स कौन से लगेंगे. These are the people who actually design your ETL pipelines. The whole ETL pipeline from the source to the destination. These are the people who do that. So I hope it actually clears your understanding. Good, thank you. So it seems like everyone understood everything I have said, or no one actually understood anything I have said.
अच्छा, काशिफ साहब बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. और स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप लोगों को कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं.
I'll be very happy to sit here for as long as you want, but I don't want to take your time if you don't have any questions.
जी, अब्दुल बासित के पास कोई क्वेश्चन है?
सर हाँ, श्योर.
पहले अब्दुल बासित मैं पूछ रहा था पहले, अगर हमने कोई जैसा हम डाटा गैदर कर रहे हैं फॉर सपोज एक कोई एपीआई के थ्रू है और वो जैसा आपने बताया वो बहुत बड़ा डाटा है, तो उसको मैनेज हमने करना है और हमने आगे अगर वो अप्रोचेस कौन सी जैसे आप लोग जो यूज करते हैं कि डाटा को मैनेज करने की, अगर आप थोड़ा सा उसमें बता सकें.
ओके, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय मैनेज? फॉर एग्जांपल एपीआई है, एपीआई तो डाटा प्रेजेंट करती है, ठीक है, या एपीआई से आप डाटा लेते हैं, ठीक है, तो आप मैनेज.
जी मैं अपना थोड़ा सा सिनेरियो वो बता रहा हूँ, सिनेरियो थोड़ा सा क्लियर कर रहा हूँ. एपीआई से आप अगर डाटा ले रहे हैं और एक स्टोर करवा रहे हैं और वो उसमें आपने यूज करना आप
ठीक
एक
है,
एल्गोरिथम भी यूज करना चाह रहे हैं और वैसे भी यूज करना है आपने, तो अगर
ठीक
आप
है,
उसका अप्रोच कैसी होगी अगर आप कर रहे हो तो?
ठीक है। अच्छा, अब your question actually defining the problem, always like that, कि मैं एक डेटा ले रहा हूँ और मुझे इसको इस तरह से यूज करना है। when they आपको ये पता हो कि आप क्या डेटा ले रहे हैं और आप उसको यूज कैसे करेंगे, then the only thing that needs to be resolved is the middle part। और वो आपको पास ये होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मेरा एंड यूज ऐसा है कि मुझे उसको रिलेशनल वे में दिखाना है, फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे एक टेबुलर रिपोर्ट बनानी है या एक टेबुलर समथिंग बनाना है या एक्सेल शीट में उसको दिखा के दे देना है, तो देन द रिलेशनल वे इज द बेटर वे टू डू इट। बट इफ दैट डेटा इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी शोन एज रिलेशनल, लेकिन उसको किसी और आर्टिफैक्ट में दिखाना है किसी और तरीके से, तो वो देखें आप कि आपका जो एंड रिजल्ट है उसके लिए वो कितना एफिशिएंट तरीका अख्तियार किया जा सकता है। फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मैं डाटा ऐसा ले रहा हूँ जिसमें मैंने हमेशा एक ही एक वैल्यू है जिसके ऊपर मैं हमेशा सर्च करूंगा, तो रिलेशनल डेटाबेस विल बी मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर दैट। मैंने हमेशा एक की पे सर्च करना है और हमेशा एक ही वैल्यू या वेरी स्मॉल रेंज ऑफ वैल्यूज मुझे अगर सर्च करनी है, उसके लिए फिर की वैल्यू स्टोर्स आर बेटर सोल्यूशन। अब मुझे फॉर एग्जांपल अगर वो बनाना है, मैं एपीआई से जो रिक्वेस्ट ले रहा हूँ, फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास एपीआई से वो आती थी आपकी जीपीएस रिकॉर्ड आते थे, तो जीपीएस रिकॉर्ड को मैं रिलेशनल में रखूंगा तो इट जस्ट डजंट मेक एनी सेंस फॉर मी। मेरे पास कोई ऐसा आई नीड टू सर्च फॉर दैट, आई नीड टू रिसर्च फॉर दैट कि इज देयर एनी वे कि मैं इसको इस तरह से अपने पास स्टोर करूं। जीपीएस बेसिकली जीपीएस डाटा की अलग से डाटा टाइप्स भी होती हैं और उनके स्टोरेज का तरीका भी डिफरेंट होता है। तो मैं उसमें अगर स्टोर करूं तो मैं जब इसको रिट्रीव करने लगूं, फॉर एग्जांपल मैं अगर बताऊं कि मेरे पास रिक्वेस्ट आती थी कि जिस पॉइंट पे ये खड़ा हुआ है इसके 4 स्क्वायर माइल के अंदर क्या चीजें मौजूद थी, तो दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर वेरी स्पेशलाइज्ड। तो इस किस्म का अगर आपको एंड यूजर की नॉलेज है या ये मालूम है कि हमें इस किस्म की क्यूरीज करनी होगी, it always depends on the usage and how you are going to retrieve it. Most of the time relational is okay, but it's not like it is always okay। ठीक है।
जी जी समझ आ गई।
अच्छा आपने एक और सवाल किया था, व्हाट इज डेटा लीक। आप ही ने किया था मेरे
सर
ख्याल में।
मैंने किया था अब्दुल्ला।
अच्छा अब्दुल्ला साहब ने, सॉरी। अच्छा अब्दुल्ला साहब, डेटा लीक जो है ओके, जब आप मल्टीपल एप्लीकेशन से डाटा कलेक्ट करते हैं तो ट्रेडिशनली क्या होता था कि आप उन सारी सोर्सेस को इंटीग्रेट करते थे, कंबाइन करते थे, तो उनका एक डेटा वेयरहाउस बनाते थे। अच्छा, डेटा वेयरहाउस इट्स अ वेरी गुड कॉन्सेप्ट, it's an excellent thing to do business intelligence, but every solution has its pros and cons। अच्छा, for the last 10 years, before 10 years, it was an excellent solution for making powerful dashboards to help in making decisions। But what happened is जो डेटा वेयर हाउस के डिजाइन होते हैं, जिस तरह से वो मैनेज किए जाते हैं, इट्स बिकम्स वेरी अनफ्लेक्सिबल। क्योंकि डेटा वेयर हाउस का जो माइंडसेट है डिजाइन का, वो ये होता है कि यू नीड टू नो व्हाट यू वांट एंड देन यू डिजाइन इट। तो जब आप उसको उस माइंडसेट के साथ डिजाइन कर लेते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल मैं कहता हूँ जी मैंने कस्टमर ट्रांजैक्शन और उनको इन 5 तरीकों से देखना है और उसी के ऊपर अपनी एनालिसिस भी करनी है, उसी पे अपने जो वो है डिटेल एनालिसिस है, डैशबोर्ड्स हैं, बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस, जो भी करना है मुझे इन 5, 6, 8, 10 तरीकों से करना है। then the data model that gets designed for it is designed for that specific set of reasons। if the business, and it gets changed, it always gets changed, it's the rule of life that the only constant in life is change, so business do get changed, and then when they get changed, the changing of that data warehouse where your whole set of applications that are integrated is becomes so painful that most of the time it gets restarted and again rebuilt. That's where the data lake comes in. Data lake has the idea that you get all the data, the sources, you sorry, you will get all the data in the lake once. Okay, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry,
Yes,
there
जी
was a
आप
disconnection
जो
in my,
स्क्रीन शेयरिंग बंद हो गई है.
हाँ वो there is a disconnection in my
Okay.
connectivity. Let me share it again. Okay, so what we do in data lake is we collect all the data, whatever the data is available in the source system, 80%, 90% data, until unless we actually know that this data is not related to business and not will not be used in anywhere. We collect all the data from the source system and just dumps it, not dumps it, it actually stores it in a very large storage system. For example, mostly used is Hadoop, and then we decide what we are going to do it. That gives you the flexibility to modify the system. In data warehouses, once you have actually attached the data warehouse, the source system to your data warehouse, it will always request the same data with the model which is designed for the data warehouse. Now what we are now that what data lake does is it just gets the data in the same format that is stored in the source system, and it gets in whole. It's not like मैं आज 3 टेबल में से 4 कॉलम ला रहा हूँ और कल मैं 5 कॉलम लाऊंगा. It gets whole table. Even if the requirement is for only 4 columns or 5 columns, it just gets the whole table and dumps it. And then we decide कि हम इसका करेंगे क्या. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब इसमें फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी क्या है. रॉ डेटा मेरे पास मौजूद है तमाम सोर्सेज से, मैं उससे एआई के लिए एक अलग मॉडल डिजाइन कर सकता हूँ, डेटा वेयर हाउस के लिए एक अलग मॉडल डिजाइन कर सकता हूँ, एंड एनी टाइप ऑफ अदर एनालिसिस के लिए मैं अलग डाटा, एक अलग मॉडल डिजाइन करके, अलग फॉर्मेट डिजाइन करके, एनीथिंग आई वांट, because I have the data lake has all the raw data available. The engineers can modify it, can map it, and can use it wherever and whatever they want. That's the flexibility the data lake provides in this current big data situation. That's why it is getting so much press and so much hype. Hope this clears the data lake understanding.
जी सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच, समझ आ गया.
Great. Okay. So now I will show you a picture. Let's show you that the data, what kind of. Just give me a minute here so I can. Okay. Seems like my internet is working very slow. In the presentation, the first link where it says data never sleeps, it shows you how much data we are actually generating in an hour daily. So if you go through that link, you will see that humans have started generating so much data, and it's becoming even difficult for cloud systems to manage it on the daily basis. That's why they are upgrading everything and on the daily basis. That's coming online. Now, can you see the screen? Data never sleeps. Excuse me.
Yes,
Anyone?
we can see, sir.
Are you able to see the screen? Okay, now look at the picture. This is in just 1 minute you are generating the data. The whole world is generating data. Just see the quantum of this the data that is being generated around the world. For example, 41 million messages are transferred within a minute in WhatsApp. The Facebook has generated about 147,000 photo uploads in a minute. There are about $3,805 per minute spent on mobile apps, and the Twitter is generating 300 new users. YouTube users upload 500 hours of video every minute. It is said that if you want to watch every YouTube video, you will need to have a life of about 10 to 20,000 years. This is the way the data is being generated now, and that's why the data management and the technology is moving towards the big data and the AI and the artificial intelligence algorithms to manage and make sense from this much of data. ठीक. Okay, Abdul Rahman, I think it's
जी काशिफ साहब, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका और आपने ज्वाइन किया सेशन. और स्टूडेंट्स, ये आपको जो प्रेजेंटेशन की स्लाइड्स वगैरह हैं वो मैं शेयर कर दूंगा, और आपके गूगल डेवलपर स्टूडेंट क्लब के अंदर ये जो इसकी वीडियो वगैरह है, ये सारी चीजें भी अपलोड हो जाएंगी. अच्छा, इसके अलावा मैं आपको ये बताऊं कि हमारे बहुत सारे फास्टियंस हैं जो कि HBL में इस वक्त मौजूद हैं, और एक मेरा ही स्टूडेंट था, वो भी वहाँ पे है और वो इन्हीं की टीम में काम भी कर रहा है. इसके अलावा ये कि और भी इनकी हायरिंग्स वगैरह भी होती रहती हैं. तो इससे रिलेटेड आप लोग डेटा मैनेजमेंट में या डेटा साइंसेज वगैरह के अंदर इंटरेस्टेड हैं तो मैं इनका ईमेल एड्रेस वगैरह, आप कॉन्टैक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर कर लूंगा, ताकि आप इनको जो भी अप्रोच करना चाह रहे हैं मेरे रेफरेंस से तो आप कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, और अगर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो फिर हम इस सेमिनार को एंड करते हैं.
ठीक है सर, ठीक है, बहुत शुक्रिया.
ठीक है,
थैंक यू
काशिफ साहब. ये सर बहराज हैं. सर बहराज, आप अभी यहाँ मौजूद हैं?
जी सर. अस्सलाम वालेकुम काशिफ साहब. थैंक यू काशिफ साहब, इट वाज नाइस प्रेजेंटेशन और बहुत नॉलेज, बहुत सारी चीजें जो है वो समझ में आई.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू. आई डोंट थिंक मैं बहुत बिकॉज बीइंग प्योरली एन इंजीनियरिंग साइड, मैं कोई बहुत ही स्पेशल किस्म का प्रेजेंटर नहीं हूँ, बट आई विल बी वेरी हैप्पी to help anyone to understand anything around data, because that's my passion for life, because I choose it to be the life I am living.
जी जी काशिफ साहब मेरे परसों जो है वो अब्दुल रहमान से बात हो रही थी, तो वो कह रहे थे
जी
कि
जी
उन्होंने आपका तारफ कराया था, और फिर मैं जो है वो आपके सेशन का बड़ी बेचैनी से इंतजार कर रहा था, क्योंकि
थैंक यू।
तो अभी आपने बात की, तो मैं डॉक्टर ताहिर सैयद साहब के ज़रिए निगरानी जो है पीएचडी भी कर रहा हूँ, और फास्ट में लाइक
जबरदस्त,
तो
सही है।
एक्चुअली जो है वो हमें क्या आपके पास जो डेटा है, डेटा का हमें एक्सेस मिल सकता है कि हम उस पे जो है वो लाइक कुछ एनालिसिस वगैरह कर
बराज साहब, अकॉर्डिंग टू द रेगुलेशंस जो एसबीपी की और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान की रेगुलेशन है, वी कांट इवन शेयर द डाटा विद आवर वेंडर्स जो कि उसी प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर काम कर रहे होते हैं।
जी जी जी
तो दिस इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट कि डाटा इस तरह से शेयर किया जा सके ना, तो वो इट्स डिफिकल्ट।
अच्छा, और क्या ये पॉसिबल है कि लाइक हमारे पास जो कस्टमर की आईडीज हैं और उनके जो लाइक नेम वगैरह है, उन कॉलम को जो है लाइक हटा के, या
अच्छा
वो
अच्छा, उसके लिए देखें ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक वो हो सकती है, एक क्या कहना चाहिए, एक कन्वर्सेशन हो सकती है, क्योंकि इन्फोसेक इज वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट अबाउट दैट,
राइट
और इन्फोसेक इज वेरी वेरी एडमेंट। इवन वो हमको भी डाटा नहीं देखने देते। इवन फॉर एग्जांपल मैं डाटा लेक की हेड ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग हूँ, बट स्टिल फॉर मी CNIC इज encrypted, इवन CNIC आर encrypted.
राइट
I have to get the permission कि मुझे ये CNIC देखने हैं, तो I have to approve it and things like that.
राइट सर, यस वो काफी सेंसिटिव डेटा होता है, तो इस वजह से जो है वो लाइक राइट।
हाँ, क्योंकि रिसेंटली असल में कुछ ऐसे वो हुए हैं, ऐसे इवेंट्स हुए हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल बैंक इस्लामी के साथ हुआ था, उससे पहले भी हुआ था कि वो डाटा पूरा का पूरा एकदम ओपन हो जाता है, कार्ड शेयर हो जाते हैं। तो इस वजह से इन्फोसेक इज वेरी वेरी टची अबाउट दैट।
राइट सर, राइट।
बहरहाल साहब, मैं आपके साथ इनकी कॉन्टेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर लेता हूँ।
राइट,
यू कैन इवन आफ्टर।
मुझे वैसे डाटा से रिलेटेड, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन से रिलेटेड डाटा किस तरह से बिहेव करता है, कैसे किया जा सकता है, व्हाट आर द एल्गोरिथम्स, हाउ डू मैनेज। अच्छा, और डाटा की जहाँ तक बात है, अगर आपको लार्ज साइज का डाटा चाहिए ना, तो आई वुड बी हेल्पफुल टू शेयर विद यू द लिंक्स, क्योंकि देयर आर ओपन लिंक्स अवेलेबल that will share you.
Right.
For example, whole of the Stack Overflow data is available.
Right.
So it will be the biggest, the one of the biggest data openly available on the internet. You can go for any year. Most probably they are sharing for 2 or 3 years data. So it's a huge data. Multiple GBs of data available on the net. And they make it, they redacted the whatever you are saying, that they redacted the customer data and the related mobile numbers and information, and just give you the QA and things like that. So it is very very useful data.
Right, sir. Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. अच्छा, अहमद शकील साहब, statisticians fall in the data science team because they are the people who make the algorithms. Statisticians are the ones who actually say, this is the, when you go to them and ask, this is the problem, I want to solve that problem, and I want to view how it is, how the data is behaving. So according to your problem and according to your requirements, they will select an algorithm, a way to calculate the value which you would need. So for example, in HBL, in our department, there are 2 statisticians. One is a Duke University professor who has worked in UN and lots of places, and now he has just joined 3 years ago with us, and he actually is the one who designs which algorithm is to be used and how it should be used. So statisticians and mathematicians are just now into the mainstream. I have also an applied mathematician in my team. Okay, Abdul Rahman, I think we need to conclude that.
Thank you so much.
And if anyone wants to ask any question, okay. Thank you. Thank you all
ठीक है, थैंक यू फाजिल साहब।
for listening.
और
Thank you,
ये स्टूडेंट्स आप लोगों को मैं इनकी कांटेक्ट ईमेल्स वगैरह शेयर कर लूंगा ताकि आपको इवन बाद में भी अगर कोई क्वेश्चंस अगर पूछने हो तो आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं इनसे। थैंक यू काशिफ अमीन साहब, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका कि आप आए और आपने इतनी वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे साथ शेयर की है। और इंशाल्लाह हम इसकी एडवांस डेटा मैनेजमेंट की आपके साथ वर्कशॉप्स वगैरह भी इंशाल्लाह अरेंज करवाएंगे। तो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस।
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.